The 1980s didn't just give us movies, it gave us moments. Marty McFly hitting 88 miles per hour, John McClane crawling through air vents, Ferris Bueller skipping school like it was an Olympic sport. These weren't just films, they were cultural touchstones that shaped how we see adventure, comedy, and even ourselves. But here's the thing, behind the blockbuster giants, the 80s were packed with films that were just as thrilling, hilarious, and unforgettable, yet somehow don't get talked about enough. This list isn't about the obvious hits. It's about the cult legends, the underappreciated gems, and the jaw-dropping surprises that prove the 80s was the most electric decade in movie history. So grab your Walkman, rewind that VHS, and get ready. Because these are 10 awesome 80s movies everyone needs to see. Whether it's your first watch or your 50th, these films still blow minds. And hey, if you're into nostalgia, retro rewinds, and the movies that defined a generation, hit that like button and subscribe to Holly Fella. Number 10. The Goonies, 1985. If you ever dreamed of finding buried treasure in your backyard, or outrunning booby traps like Indiana Jones, the Goonies made those fantasies feel possible. Directed by Richard Donner and produced by Steven Spielberg, this adventure is pure 80s magic. At its heart, it's about kids from a working-class neighborhood who stumble onto a pirate map and set off to save their homes from foreclosure. But the real treasure isn't gold. It's the wild, messy, heartfelt friendships. You've got Mikey, the dreamer with big ideas, Chunk, whose clumsy charm gave us the legendary truffle shuffle, Data, the gadget genius with inventions that somehow work, and Mouth, the sarcastic friend who can talk his way into or out of any situation. Add in a family of bumbling villains, a lovable giant named Sloth, collapsing caves, and skeleton keys, and you've got a film that feels like every kid's ultimate adventure. It's thrilling, it's funny, and most importantly, it treats childhood with honesty. The Goonies doesn't talk down to kids. It celebrates the bravery, awkwardness, and magic of growing up. Number 9. Ferris Bueller's Day Off, 1986. There are movie characters. And then there's Ferris Bueller, the guy who turned skipping school into an art form. Written and directed by John Hughes, this isn't just a teen comedy. It's a rule-breaking manifesto on how to squeeze every ounce of fun out of life. From the opening scene, Ferris breaks the fourth wall and invites you into his world. Suddenly, you're in on the joke. A world where faking a fever gets you the day off, crashing a parade is totally normal, and borrowing a priceless Ferrari is just another Tuesday. But here's the genius. It's not just Ferris's story. The real emotional arc belongs to Cameron, the reluctant best friend who confronts his own fears in between joy rides and existential breakdowns. Their trio with Sloane, Ferris's girlfriend, captures a kind of teen magic that feels untouchable. And of course, we can't forget Principal Rooney, the hilariously clueless villain chasing Ferris with the persistence of Wile E. Coyote. Every failed attempt to catch him adds to the comedy gold. At the end of the day, this isn't about skipping school. It's about not letting life slip past you. Ferris said it best. Life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it. Number 8. The Thing, 1982. If Ferris Bueller is about freedom, The Thing is about fear, pure, bone-deep paranoia. Directed by John Carpenter, this sci-fi horror classic traps you in an Antarctic research station with a shape-shifting alien that can imitate anyone. From the eerie opening scene with a mysterious dog, the dread never lets up. Suddenly, every character is a suspect. Every stare, every silence, every outburst could mean the end. Kurt Russell's MacReady steps up as the reluctant leader, but even he doesn't know who to trust. And then come the effects. Exploding chests, spider legs sprouting from human heads, mutations so grotesque they still look better than most CGI today. Designed by Rob Bottin, these practical effects are as terrifying now as they were in 1982. The wild part, when The Thing first released, it bombed. Audiences weren't ready for something this dark, especially after E.T. had made aliens look cuddly. Critics dismissed it, but time proved them wrong. It became a cult legend, now hailed as one of the greatest horror films ever made. Because the real monster isn't just the alien, it's the crushing fear that your closest friend might not be who you think he is. Number 7. Stand By Me, 1986. Before CGI explosions and billion-dollar franchises, there was Stand By Me, a quiet, powerful story about four boys on the edge of childhood. Directed by Rob Reiner and based on a Stephen King novella, it's not really about finding a dead body, it's about finding yourself. Gordy, Chris, Teddy, and Vern set out on a journey down the railroad tracks, and along the way we see something rare in movies, the raw honesty of friendship at its most fragile. Will Wheaton's Gordy wrestles with grief and identity. River Phoenix's Chris delivers one of the most heartbreakingly real performances of the 80s, as a kid tough on the outside but deeply wounded inside. The film lingers on the small details: campfire confessions, quiet walks, the legendary train scene. There's no spectacle, no special effects, just an aching reminder of what it feels like to be young, vulnerable, and at a crossroads. By the end, you're not just watching their story, you're remembering your own. The friends you lost, the summers you thought would last forever, and the first time you realized childhood doesn't stay. Number 6. Back to the Future, 1985. Every decade has its signature film moment. For the 80s, it was a DeLorean hitting 88 miles per hour and leaving flaming tire tracks across cinema history. Back to the Future isn't just a movie, it's a time capsule of pure blockbuster magic. Michael J. Fox plays Marty McFly, a small-town teenager who accidentally gets sent back to 1955 in a time machine built by Doc Brown, Christopher Lloyd in all his manic genius. But here's the twist. Marty disrupts his parents' past, and unless he fixes it, he may erase his own future. The brilliance of this movie is its balance. It's hilarious 1 minute, edge-of-your-seat tense the next. From awkward run-ins with his teenage mom to the clock tower lightning strike, every scene feels iconic. The chemistry between Fox and Lloyd is electric, making every "Great Scott" unforgettable. And the legacy? From the Huey Lewis soundtrack to endless pop culture references, Back to the Future didn't just entertain, it redefined how fun, smart, and heartfelt sci-fi could be. Number 5. Blade Runner, 1982. If Back to the Future showed us a thrilling tomorrow, Blade Runner showed us a haunting one. Ridley Scott's neon-soaked noir takes us to Los Angeles 2019, where the line between human and machine has all but vanished. Harrison Ford plays Rick Deckard, a weary detective tasked with hunting down rogue replicants, bioengineered beings who look, feel, and think like us. But the deeper he goes, the more he questions what it really means to be human. Every frame is drenched in rain, smoke, and neon light. Vangelis's synth score pulses like a dream, and Rutger Hauer's performance as Roy Batty, capped by the legendary Tears in Rain speech, elevates the film into poetry. When it first hit theaters, it flopped. Too dark, too strange. But over time, it became a masterpiece, a film that doesn't just entertain but lingers in your mind, asking questions that feel more relevant today than ever. Number 4. The Breakfast Club, 1985. 5 strangers, one Saturday, detention. A library that became the stage for one of the most honest teen stories ever told. John Hughes's The Breakfast Club takes the cliches of high school: the brain, the athlete, the princess, the basket case, and the criminal, and strips them bare. Over the course of a single day, they break down walls, reveal secrets, and realize they're not so different after all. There are no car chases, no explosions, just raw conversations, awkward confessions, and the unspoken truth that being a teenager is messy and painful, but also universal. And then, of course, that ending. Bender walking across the football field, fist raised to the sky as Simple Minds sings, "Don't You Forget About Me." One freeze frame, one song, a declaration that still echoes decades later. Number 3. Raiders of the Lost Ark, 1981. Before superheroes dominated cinemas, there was one fedora-wearing archaeologist who redefined adventure: Indiana Jones. In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Harrison Ford brings Indy to life as a whip-cracking, snake-fearing hero who doesn't just fight Nazis for treasure. He stumbles, improvises, and somehow always survives. From the opening boulder chase to the face-melting finale, every sequence feels iconic. Marion Ravenwood, played by Karen Allen, is no damsel. She's a fiery partner who matches Indy punch for punch. and John Williams' legendary theme turns every moment into cinematic gold. This wasn't just a movie. It was a thrill ride that reignited the spirit of old-school adventure and gave us a hero who wasn't perfect, but unforgettable. Number 2. E.T. the Extra-Terrestrial, 1982. Sometimes the biggest stories are the quietest. E.T. isn't about spaceships or lasers. It's about a boy, a friend, and a goodbye. When young Elliot discovers a stranded alien, he doesn't find a monster. He finds a companion. Together, they form a bond that's tender, funny, and deeply moving. Spielberg captures childhood with such sincerity that moments like the moonlit bike ride or the glowing fingertip feel like pure magic. But woven through the wonder is sadness, the knowledge that every connection has an ending. The government closing in, E.T.'s glowing heart, the simple words, "I'll be right here." These are the scenes that stay with you forever. It's not just a sci-fi film. It's a lesson in love, loss, and the beauty of letting go. Number 1. Ghostbusters, 1984. Who you gonna call? You already know. Ghostbusters starts with a creepy library ghost and ends with a 100-foot marshmallow man stomping through New York City. In between, it gives us a perfect mix of scares, laughs, and 80s insanity. Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, and Ernie Hudson form a team of fired parapsychologists who turn ghost-busting into a business. Armed with proton packs and endless sarcasm, they battle slimy specters, demon dogs, and an ancient god named Gozer. The genius is in the balance. It's genuinely funny, but also genuinely spooky. Murray's dry delivery steals every scene, while Rick Moranis adds nerdy chaos to the mix. And let's not forget the theme song, a tune so catchy it became a cultural phenomenon. Ghostbusters wasn't just a hit, it was lightning in a bottle. The kind of film that captured the weird, fearless spirit of the 80s and turned it into a global icon. So there you have it, 10 unforgettable 80s films that didn't just entertain, they shaped a generation. From ghost traps to glowing fingers, from detention halls to time-traveling DeLoreans, these weren't just movies. They were moments, cultural fingerprints that still echo today. Whether you've seen them 100 times or you're just pressing play for the first time, each one is proof of what cinema used to feel like. Raw, inventive, and a little weird. In the best possible way. So, which one's your favorite? Did we miss a hidden gem? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget, hit subscribe and let's keep rewinding together.